What's going on, everybody? It's Ted again with the Crescent City Geeks. Got another great interview for you guys. Joining me from the upcoming mystery thriller Crescent City is Nicky Whelan. How's it going?
Hi, love. How are you?
Fantastic. Talk to us about Crescent City. This is such a great sort of throwback to sort of 90s, early 2000s thrillers, and it's got an incredible cast. But tell us what kind of got you interested in joining this project.
All those things you just said, I know RJ, I've known him for 17 years. I did one of my first movies out here he was producing, and he'd always said to me, he's always had a great belief in me, and he's always promised me that we'll work together again. So when this came around, we had a coffee. He explained Jacqueline, the character, to me. I loved her, all her twists and turns. There's a lot of layers to Jacqueline. There's a lot going on. She's a great female character to play. There's so much happening. And then obviously you've got this unbelievable casts of award-winning old school actors that are just so cool. Esai, a friend of mine, before I made the movie, so great to get to work with him. A dear friend, I love him and his family. So it's sort of a treat. And then you've got Terrence Howard and Alec Baldwin, absolute stars and so powerful, bring so much amazingness to the screen. So we've got this great cast of guys, and getting to be this strong female character amongst them, and sort of go on a journey with all our twisted pasts and stuff. It was a real adventure in the short time we had to shoot it. It was a real treat.
Great core of characters, and you also included in that bunch. You got to work with mostly Esai and Terrence. I'm not going to say what's happening in the story, but I don't think you had any. Oh, yeah, you did have one, maybe at least scene with Alec as well. Talk to us about how they work on set, or how you sort of collaborated with them. Are you guys throwing ideas at one another? How is it working with those three gentlemen?
Yeah, they're so professional. They know their characters. They come in, and the beauty and magic is bringing all these personalities together in a very short period of time. It's not a huge time for discussion. We all understand what we're doing, and the magic happens when the scenes start and you start unraveling dialogue together. And as long as you're staying within the parameters of who your character is, some really delicious things can happen and sort of take place, and things that you don't even prepare for will happen, especially when you're working with guys like this. They bring such, I mean, you're in the scene with them and you sort of get lost in, well, their own performances as well as staying in your character. You're sort of getting to organic. They're so authentic in their convictions and what they do, that your character has all this space to react so organically to it, and it just, and lovely things happen. This is the beauty of working with really great actors, is and big personalities all coming together, shuffled into these rooms to make things happen, and everybody is so classy and cool. And the chemistry with Terrence and Esai in this is so good. Those guys are hysterical. By the way, so funny off camera that they need their own situation together, because they're, and we all, I don't know, this is a special movie. They really adored each other and got along on this. I loved it so much.
Talk to us about Jacqueline. You said, she's this powerful figure. How did you prepare? What research did you do? How did you get into that mindset of being this, like, long time detective and working in this environment?
Well, she comes with a lot of secrets and a lot of dark past, and there's a lot of trauma like most humans have. And, it's just, I sort of had come straight from another project with a 24-hour turnaround from a comedy straight into a drama. The turnaround was incredibly quick for me, and I was a bit of a mess. I was kind of like coming from this loud, crazy comedic character into Jacqueline the next morning at 5 a.m. I'm like, what is happening? So, but Jacqueline is what is happening. She's come from a lot of trauma, and she's making poor decisions from her pain. I think she has a good heart. We see along the journey, it's quite easy to turn on her at times, but hopefully you can understand why she does what she does. And sort of, so you're sort of going along with it, trying to stay in the moment as much as possible to stay authentic and true to the story and the character. But thinking too far ahead, I tend not to do that. I really don't. I know everyone has their own process, but for me, when things are turning around this quickly and we're there and we've got to make it real in the moment, really think about what she's going through. And then you've got these really incredible, these pros around you that lift you and you really, you're all there in it, feeling it, and that's as best as you can do as an actor to deliver that scene. Then you're on to the next one in 2 hours. It's not, we haven't got 3 months to shoot this anymore. So you got to be on your toes. Yeah, so preparing, there's always a mild preparation, but a lot of the magic happens once you are there.
This is like I mentioned when we first started. This is such a sort of a great throwback. It sort of felt like one of those great classic cat and mouse movies from like the '90s to 2000s. I talked with RJ about like Along Came the Spider was one of my faves back when it seemed like it came out forever ago. Did you have any sort of movies in this genre that you really kind of impacted you to become an actress, or that you knew you really wanted to do a movie like that before?
90s movies are always, I feel like whenever, and I love that a lot of people have been bringing up 90s movies in reflection to Crescent City. Some of our best movies ever made, especially our thrillers and action movies, were made in the 90s, because then we didn't have phones. There's so much interesting things that happened in the 90s, and they also had 3 months to shoot movies back then for the most part. So, they were all so cool. It was True Romance in the 90s. I mean, all those badass movies, and you love the characters, and there's so much going on. You've got all these familiar faces and the drama and the passion and the love for it. There's just 90s just brought that to life. I mean, I'll find myself just flicking through movies, and a lot of them are 90s because they had something about that time. So when we make a movie like Crescent City, which feels a little 90s, it's cool. It's really cool. It's like it takes you back, and you want to go. We don't have a lot of time, but you want to shoot as much as you can to give it that draw those old school movies used to give you, where you have time, and it's not just going from this to that. You see what happens in between. There's time to, so I think if we'd had more time, we could have even done so much more. But I love that we slot this into a 90s vibe. That's just badass because 90s is so cool. you know
It's a great film. It's such a great core of cast members. It's a mystery thriller. It keeps you guessing all the way to the end. I promise. I sure was for sure. And everyone should go check it out. So Crescent City is going to be in select theaters and on demand on August 16th. And director R.J. Collins did an incredible job, and it sounds like everyone had a blast on this project. So, Nikki, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today, and I can't wait for everybody to see this movie.
You got it, love. Thank you very much.